The Story of Hollow Mountain. My name is Elijah Crane. I was born with a musket in my hands and the Allegheny winds in my lungs. Trapper, scout, frontiersman. Some even called me mountain-wise. But after what I saw, what we saw, I reckon none of us were ever wise enough. They found me 3 weeks after the last snow fell, half-starved, beard frozen, boots worn down to my toes. I was babbling about shadows that walk like men, about a door in the mountain, about them, the ones who step through. Now I ain't asking you to believe every word. Hell, I wouldn't if I hadn't lived it. But before you laugh or call me touched in the head, just listen. You can decide when I'm done. It started in January of 1738. Coldest winter I'd seen in 20 years. The rivers froze thick as stone and the air could bite the bark off trees. Strange thing was, folks started hearing voices out there. First, it was the Lenape tribes. They whispered about dark shapes moving through the pines, always at dusk. Then it was the settlers, claiming their livestock had gone missing. Pens smashed open, blood in the snow, but no tracks. Not even a fox print. And then came the howls. Long, deep, hollow howls that rolled down the hills like thunder, not wolves. These weren't of any creature born to this world. They sounded like sorrow and rage given breath. That's when the killing began. It started with a family, 3 kids, 2 parents, found shredded like meat in a bear trap. Cabin untouched, doors locked from the inside. Only a strange black hair left stuck in the hinges, thicker than any bear or man. The town got spooked. We buried what was left, but the whispers didn't stop. I was called up to join the search party. Not the militia, mind you. This was quiet. 5 of us, the bravest or the dumbest. There was Jonah McTavish, the preacher turned scout, who hadn't smiled since his wife was scalped near Fort Ligonier. Miriam Holloway, best tracker in 2 counties, daughter of a trapper and a Shawnee woman. Eyes like an eagle, nerves like cold iron. 2 Feathers, a Lenape warrior who rarely spoke, but when he did, you listened. He claimed the mountain was alive, and we were trespassing in a war older than any colony. Silas Pike, an old fur trader who stank of gin and nightmares. He once told me he saw the devil walk upright in Saskatchewan, and I believed him. And then there was me, Elijah Crane. I never much believed in spirits or curses. Until that trip. We packed rifles, powder, food for 10 days, and flint for fire. 2 Feathers insisted on bringing a bundle of red ochre, bone charms, and a war drum. I thought it was nonsense. I wish I hadn't. We set out before dawn. The frost snapped beneath our boots like glass. For 2 days we climbed higher into the Alleghenies. The trees thinned. The wind grew stronger, almost like it was following us. At night, we heard the whispers. Not words, not clearly, but enough. Sometimes we heard our own names. Jonah, Elijah. And sometimes we heard things that hadn't happened yet. On the 3rd day, we found the stone circle. It wasn't natural. 12 slabs, each taller than a man, standing in a perfect ring. No moss, no ice, just dry, warm stone. 2 Feathers stopped walking when he saw it. He fell to his knees and started chanting in his tongue, rubbing ochre on his arms, whispering something about the gate between worlds. Then we saw it. In the center of the circle, the air was wrong. It shimmered like heat over a summer road, even though it was 15 below. It wasn't just shimmering. It was sucking light in, like a tear in the world. And then it stepped out. 10 feet tall, thick with fur like matted oil, arms longer than its legs, jaw like a cracked boulder, and those eyes. Not red, glowing, as if it had fire behind the sockets. Jonah raised his rifle. Didn't matter. The thing moved faster than any beast. It crushed him. Just picked him up like a doll and smashed him down on a stone until there was nothing but red, mush, and bone. Miriam screamed. I ran. Two Feathers stood his ground, war drum pounding. He shouted at the thing in Lenape, something like, "Return to your realm, Shadow Walker." The creature paused. I swear to you, it looked at him, understood him. Then it turned and stepped back into the shimmer. Gone. We didn't sleep that night. The next day, Two Feathers told us it wasn't alone, that what we saw was a scout, and that the gate only opens when the stars align. That stone circle was a mirror to another world, a hunting ground for things not meant to touch this earth. We should have turned back. But Silas, he said he'd seen this before. In 1729, near the Rockies, he said if we left now, it would follow us back. He was right. That night, it opened again. But this time, 3 came through. One was taller than the rest. It wore what looked like armor, bone plates sewn into its fur. It had a scar down its chest and a necklace of skulls. Not animal skulls. Human. We tried to ambush them. Miriam shot one through the throat. It barely flinched. She ran. Didn't get 20 yards before one of them leapt through the trees and dragged her screaming into the dark. We followed the blood trail, but it ended abruptly, like she had been lifted out of the world. Silas broke that night. He lit a fire and started screaming at the woods, cursing God and man and monster. Said he'd rather die than run again. He got his wish. The biggest one walked straight into the firelight, eyes burning, and just tore him apart. No fight, no noise. Just gone. Two Feathers and I ran until our lungs bled. We found shelter in a cave, a sacred place, he said. Old spirits lived there, ones even the monsters feared. We lit a fire, sang old war songs, prayers, anything to keep them at bay. It worked, until the last night. The air grew still. The fire went out on its own. And out of the darkness, the biggest one appeared. Just stepped in, fire or not. But this time, it spoke, not in words, but in sound. It made the cave shake. The bones in my ears rattled. It was speaking in thunder. Two Feathers stood between me and the thing, chanting louder. It reached for him, and he pulled a blade from his robe and showed him his resolve. Blood hit the floor. The thing stopped, watched. Then it backed away. It left. And the portal closed behind it. I don't know how long I stayed in that cave. Days, maybe weeks. Eventually, I crawled out, walked until I collapsed. The next thing I remember is waking up in a militia camp, feverish, raving, with frostbite down to my elbows. They said I was the only one left. They don't believe me. They think I lost my mind. But I know what I saw. I know what walks in those hills when the stars are right and the stones are warm. And I know this. The hollow ones will return, and when they do, no bullet, no wall will stop them, only prayer. So if you find yourself near Broken Jaw Ridge, and the wind starts to sound like a voice you know, don't answer, don't look behind you, and for the love of God, don't follow the light between the stones.